All right. What's up, guys? It has been a minute since I've been on here, so we're going to catch you up, just exactly what I've been up to, what hybrid has been progressing to, just get you guys caught up on everything that's been happening, whether in the business, personal, everything that goes on. So, with that being said, a lot has happened since we last spoke, and I'm getting some of these settings together. Since we last spoke, and I've added more people to my team, started more projects, changed the way we did marketing, met with a lot of business owners, connected with a few interested parties, and of course got my first sale. So a lot of things that we're going to be going over and doing a deep dive on. So be prepared for that. That's what's to come. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right. So essentially over the past month and a half, my main focus has been to grow, collect 90K worth of business. Now, with this, obviously we're, long story short, leaps and bounds away from that, but progress nevertheless. And, where we're headed right now is in a good place. It's not as fast as I thought it would be, but again, progress nevertheless. So I've been going to a number of networking meetings throughout the triangle just to meet up with different business owners, see exactly, if what I do makes sense for them. And within that time period, I've met with over, I think, 30 people at this point, and a lot of in-person meetings, a lot of solopreneurs who loved what I was doing, but just simply couldn't afford it at that time. And so for them, this allowed me to do a couple of different things. One, I started aiming for slightly larger businesses, and also met with someone who wanted just one part of my business, not just the entire thing. Meaning there was different products that we offer, and there's like, hey, we just needed this one part. And so I actually met someone within those business meetings who A, was larger, but also B, wanted something specific. And so one thing I kept hearing over and over again is a sales specialist. And that's the business that I knew was going to be serious, and that's the business I ended up closing. After that, I learned two things. One, I'm aiming for the wrong market. I was meeting and speaking to a number of different people, but they were just too small for the product that I had, and the cost associated with it just didn't make sense, aka go for bigger fish. And you hear the idea that going after bigger fish is the same work, but larger reward. I'm starting to see why that's true. So I changed my offer, and I had to tighten up the offer just to appeal to the market that I was looking for. I was not doing that originally, and so I wasn't catching the fish that I wanted. And so I did that, and I also added 10 times more value on top of it, just so that it was a no-brainer. It was an irresistible offer, so that anyone who looks at it, any business owner who's looking at it, is like, hey, this makes sense for me. Without a doubt, I need to get on it right now. Urgency, it's there, it makes sense, it's cost. The value of it is way more than what it actually costs, essentially, is what a good offer is. And so my original plan was to exhaust all my personal meetings. First, to see exactly if I get any bites, but then again, to use that money from them to start the outbound side of things on a larger scale. And so far, that's what has been happening. Now that I have more time, my marketing efforts are going to be used towards things like email marketing, social media, and direct DMs. And with the email marketing, my team and I built an automation that allows emails to be sent automatically, so I don't spend direct time on it. On the social media and direct DM side of things, I will spend majority of my hands-on time with this. Those being activities that I don't want AI to really be a part of, because it doesn't have the personal touch that I can do, or that I like to the degree that I need it to be for starting out in the business. And so with this, I'll be expanding on my reach on social media while doing direct marketing, and while emails are reaching out in the background to business owners. Now, what's going on with my team? Since the last video we spoke, I've added 2 more people into my team. One guy who's from Spain and another from India. Now, the question I get is, how do I find these people? Typically for me, the main source that I've been using is online communities. And reason for this is because for me, they're a more trusted place for people I'm already looking for. So after speaking with 10 plus more people, I narrowed down on these two individuals, which was a great idea at the time. However, as time started to move on, I started to learn that one of those individuals was doing more harm than good, meaning I brought him on to, reduce the workload of my team and take work off their shoulders, when in reality he was less experienced and needed more explanation every step of the way, which just wasn't what our team was functioning as at the moment. So after a hard conversation, I'm down to two more efficient, high leverage members of my team who work great with me. We work well. It flows. Things get done. It's going good so far, and I don't want to change anything that's working well. In terms of projects, because I have a good team and the number of in-person meetings, we've been doing a number of projects. And so you're probably asking, what projects have we actually been doing? What have we been working on? You've been talking about, or haven't really been, providing, context of what you were doing. So let me kind of elaborate. We've been working with businesses anywhere from therapists to power washing, and essentially building anything from like chatbots that people can get immediate answers from on their websites, building lead nurture system that allows chiropractors to stay in touch with their patients after a couple of visits. And then the main kind of project that we've been working on is the sales specialist, or at least a voice agent for a portfolio company. And this allows them to, or at least allows the AI agent to collect data, information, and send the call, forward the call to the company if need be, along with the information it's collected from the conversation with the person. And so this allows the company to save hours on hand, avoiding spam calls or just people who aren't serious about buying from them. And so essentially, this allows them to focus on other tasks because they're not spending time answering non-revenue revenue generating conversations. And each one is fun in its own respects. Not without its own issues, of course, but at this point, you're probably thinking, what's the main thing here? What's the main objective that we're trying to get at? What did I actually learn from these experiences as I was going through it? Well, the first thing is always either be in a position to pivot or be ready to pivot. Adjust, think fast, and adapt. Nothing is going to be perfect on the first, second, or third try. So be prepared at all times. The next for me would be never underestimate the amount of work and time needed to hit your actual goals. Obviously, it is always great in theory, but it excludes the mental and physical exhaustion along with it. So be patient, take some time, and just revisit a little later. Next is going to be patience. There's a lot of new ideas, things I want to change, but I know sometimes the best thing to do is just to do nothing. Sometimes you just got to not mess something up. That's the most productive thing you can do, is just not mess up things. I was going to use another word, but just not mess up anything. A lot of people, they have one idea and then they jump to another idea and they're like, oh, well, maybe I could try this. And then by the time that happens, nothing actually got done. So being able to keep the main thing, and then just staying consistent with that while it grows and scales and develop, I think sometimes is super important. So just make sure that, patience, practice it. You're going to have to bite your tongue sometimes. I know I've always liked changing things and coming up with new things, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we don't mess up what's already working, especially if people who are spending money is already involved with it. All right, so lastly, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because I could have brought another person into the group doesn't mean I necessarily should have. Just because I can offer a ton of products and different agents doesn't mean I should. In the end, it only backfired or will backfire for you and delay what you're doing. Again, these are all things that I have experienced throughout this couple of months. And just as I'm building along, just taking you guys on the journey with me and what I'm experiencing through this process. And so you're probably like, okay, Kason, so where do we go from here? Well, I spent time preparing the past couple weeks preparing my emails for cold outreach. Just because if you go through cold emails, if you know anything about cold emails, you can't just go in and start sending emails automatically. It'll just be a disaster. You won't get anything done. You spend money that you don't really have, and it'd be waste. It's just not worth the time or hassle if you don't do it right. So rather take time on the front end, develop it properly, so that when you do start pushing out emails on a high volume, it doesn't get blocked, go to spam, and waste money, waste opportunities, everything in between. Along with that, I'm refreshing my social media. So this is changing my Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. I've adjusted on YouTube, but those other short form platforms haven't been aware of my pivot or my adjustment in the business world, and they're kind of still in the fitness stuff. I haven't touched it in the past couple of months. So over these next couple of days, weeks, I will be slowly progressing and adjusting that audience for where I am right now and what the next couple, or where my next plan or intention is going to be headed towards. And so in short, I'll be doing a lot of aggressive outreach, attacking from all different angles in every different direction, while focusing my personal attention on about one or two things. Last thing I want to do is spin my mind in several different directions, again, getting nothing done. So this will allow me to build out my top of funnel, allowing leads to fall in, allowing for new opportunity for more conversations, aka giving me more opportunities to collect more money for the business. I will also be speaking at a few AI automation events in 2026, which will allow for another opportunity to market myself and develop more skills as a person. And so I'm excited for that. There's a lot of planning involved, a lot of practicing involved. And at the end of the day, it will, again, allow me to have more exposure for my business, for myself as a person, and just, again, collect new skills along the way. So I'm excited for the next coming year. Obviously, these last couple months was pushing a rock up a hill, being last quarter, new business, no one knows my name. I was going for the hard thing and still am. December 21st, I think, is the end of the 90-day challenge I made for myself. And obviously, we're, again, far from that, but still making progress, which I'm happy, not satisfied, but happy with, to be able to say, hey, we've actually been doing something. We've actually been making progress. This is what we're going for. This is what we're trying to hit. And we're not stopping anytime soon. We may have hiccups and bumps in the way, but at the end of the day, we're still going to move forward. And so I think my team for that, they've been very patient. They've been very enthusiastic just about making progress. And I appreciate just people I've been working with who's been taking time to allow us the opportunity to help them out and work with their business along the way through their hurdles. Everybody's going through something. So it's not a perfect industry, not a perfect niche, not a perfect product or business, but it's one I'm committed to for the next couple years. I've written my name on the dotted line, signed my name away, and so rain or shine, success or failure, this is just what I'm going for. So I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this update. It's a very shorter one, casual one at most. Just keeping you guys up to date on what I've been doing, what's been happening in the past 2 months. It's really been keeping my head down, really been just grinding away and seeing exactly what can I do, how do I do this, how do I make it work, checking out with my mentor, making sure I'm going in the right direction. And again, everything seems great in theory, but to actually be in the weeds doing it, actually creating business, actually contact people, actually reaching out, actually doing the sales, actually building the product, actually delivering the product, actually making sure the client is happy, actually doing those things, they do take time. It is not just a 1 second, call somebody up, sell a product, and it's done. It's tedious work. It's constant communication. It's week after week, day after day. Things might not be as done as fast as you want it to be. Things are not as efficient. You don't have not proof of concept, standard operations. So things are, you're building on the internal, or as you're building on the external as well. So it's fun. Is what I signed up. I love it. The good and the bad. So anyways, I'm gonna start rambling. I'll let you guys go. I will appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.